Who's heard of GOED? Okay, do we all know what GOED is? Governor's Office of Economic Development. Okay, so we have Shaq Cruz from GOED. Give Shaq a round of applause, everybody. Woo! Shaq, why don't you introduce yourself while I get you all set up?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Shaq Cruz. I'm with the Nevada Governor's Office of Economic Development. I think it's really cool and an honor to be here tonight. This is actually, I was in the car on the way, and it's actually my second work anniversary, so really cool to be here chopping up with you guys. So what a year. I don't know if you've been in the ecosystem for the last year or two. It's just been like a renaissance and just nonstop for a lot of the folks here. And quick show of hands, who has a small business here in town? Okay, so probably around half the room. Who's employing people? Who's worrying about payroll and trying to make that first? Okay, good number. Okay, who's kind of sitting on the fence and kind of looking to make the jump this year? Like, you like your W-2, it's nice and cozy, but maybe this year might be the year. Anyone? Okay, see a good number. Okay, a little soft maybes. So what I do with GOED, and we'll kind of go into this. I channel my inner philosophy bro here. I help support the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and it's this very esoteric thing, but it's this collection of dreamers and doers, public-private folks, people who are in their first company, or they're looking at 40 doors, or maybe they're launching and running a tech startup and they're about to close their $40 million safe round. We're trying to build this fabric of opportunity for everyone. So in a sense, we help create opportunities for folks using our partners. Dave Berlin in the back. We have great relationships with LBGA. So Amy, nice to see you. For Workforce, she's your person. A lot of chamber development folks here, and all the names, SPDC, SCORE, Startup NV, and we have great relationships there. So just to preface, I had this cleared by our GOED team because within the governor's office, we are, Lombardo's my boss. So if there are complaints, feel free to shoot them an email or, go up there. So this isn't a campaign stump speech, but here we go. We're going to take a break from the rigmarole and all the craziness of the world to kind of ponder for maybe 15, 20 minutes here on this question of where does prosperity come from? Then maybe for a quick second, you guys can kind of think of some ideas, maybe brainstorm with me. Dave knows I do a lot of brainstorming with clients and startup founders and folks looking to launch venture capital funds or incubators, and it's just having the introspection into, what are our North Stars here? So, where'd I put that? So, I've been working on this for 10 years now, thinking about it, where value and prosperity and things come together. And I've been in this role for 2 years, as you said, and I think I've come to the answer, right, where prosperity comes from. And you may have your own, but I think we've, come to the point where I can safely say what it is, and we've got research backing it, and we've got national groups to back it, but I'll kind of unfold it in 3 stories. And the first is the story of my family. Sonny and Jackie Cruz, Filipino-American immigrants who came here in the 80s for in search of a better life. So not political at all, just talking about my life. My dad, Sonny, actually joined out of Subic Bay, joined the Navy, and was one of 17 out of 1,000 applicants who learned enough English to actually get on the plane to San Diego and serve in the U.S. Navy, traveling the world and doing cool things. And my mother, actually, if you can see her on the other side, I got her heights, obviously, 6'2". She was a practicing pediatrician in the Philippines, was lucky enough to get a job here in the States, in New York City. So they met in New York City, and they hit it off, and they moved to Augusta, Georgia, after getting married here in Las Vegas. And they worked for several years, and they kind of found a point where they wanted to start their own business. So in 2007, they started a restaurant, a little takeout place, strip mall, everything, full kitchen, adequate space. They put 50 grand together, maybe 15 grand on the side, and the first few months were great. Remodeling, getting the opening, lines were out the door. Delivery drivers were coming through constantly, and it was long 14-hour days. And this was the era of large printed maps. So For those of you who had businesses in 2007, it was like night and day. But after 18 months, things started to drop off. They really saw traffic diminishing, costs were going up. They had to really negotiate to keep things down. And after 18 months of that struggle, they decided one day, well, this is it. We'll have to close up shop. This was the dream my father had for many years. He always wanted to open a restaurant, but life happens. But fast forward to 2011, they started their own private practice. This time my mom was involved, so she's actually probably the better decision maker out of all of them. And they split the office space with a family friend, and then they found their own space after 2 or 3 years, and they were able to build a life for themselves. No guardrails, a little bit of savings they had left, just all in on their own dream. So they were like little Davids, taking on Goliath, taking on these challenges, these obstacles, like how do you license a business? How do you manage forms, negotiate contracts, vendors, compliance, payroll? And they worked hard and they were able to build a small success for myself and my sister. Then I went to college and I went to the Coast Guard Academy, one of the service academies, and I tried to really study how the world worked, right? Politics, economics, public policy, international trade. And I found that in macroeconomics, they don't treat small business owners much like, they treat small business owners as units, as elements of the labor force, not as actual people dreaming and doing. They were just cogs in a machine. And I didn't really like that. And I couldn't really reconcile that with just ordinary people trying to figure it out like my parents. Which leads me to story number 2. Background about me. So I've spent the last decade thinking about these ideas and how the world works and having really great conversations. So this is me in Italy at the International Institute of Humanitarian Law in San Remo, talking about these multinational treaties, right? We have Geneva Conventions, Hague Protocols, and how does that affect the world and create prosperity? How do you safeguard human rights, bring things together? And and I also worked at think tanks like Nevada Policy Research Institute, and studying the other side of economics, the more laissez-faire, the more libertarian side, and seeing how maybe there is a light hand of government that we can use and implement. I've had great conversations in DC. I've working in and around Capitol Hill to support Nevadans with Congressman Mark Amadei and pushing for reform and energy permitting. And I've met thousands of great founders over the years when I pivoted venture capital. And this is a really busy slide, but I'm sure there's probably a dozen faces here. But the biggest part was just learning about all of these stories and trying to find the right reconciliation of where prosperity comes from. And I got lost along the way. I moved back to Las Vegas. I was like, let's do some venture capital. Let's figure out my life. So I was working as a VC, scouting for deals. $8 billion under management, B2B SaaS, and it was a ride. I remember first seeing Dave when he's in the corner here. And in the last 3 years, it's just been nonstop. Custom engineered tequila bottles, battery-powered camper vans, SaaS platforms, RAG models. Like every Tech Alley has just been so immensely informative for me. But I've also learned about things like data too. So did you know that new businesses create virtually all job growth in Nevada? That we have over 350,000 small businesses that hire 45% of the workforce. Did you know that income growth is tied to entrepreneurial activity as well? For every 1% of entrepreneurship rates, there's a 2% decline in poverty. So it's all come out in the recent years, and it points to this conclusion that people like my parents really do matter. So here's what I've learned. It's simpler. It's not about great companies or great universities. It's very something simple, and it's to see the idea and bring it to life. It's not about one David as to where prosperity comes from. It's about people coming together and cultivating a community like we see here in Las Vegas. We see it in Zero Labs, we see it in Tech Alley. We see people taking time out of their day to talk about their companies and sharing coffee and really just building a common theme together. Hold on, lost my notes here. So really, my job is to help where you're at. If you're building a startup, if you're thinking about a food truck or a corner store or an e-commerce brand or an IT consultancy, or you're working on a side project, our Office of Entrepreneurship is here to support you. And maybe if you're 29 years old and you're sitting on some cash and you're looking at opportunity, you might actually end up like this guy, Rob Roy from Switch, who in 2000, with massive foresight ahead of his time, put $930,000 on a property of a now defunct Enron facility, and now they're looking at acquisition for probably $50 billion. So Nevada is about dreamers and doers. And that's really the key point of my talk here today. We are a state of people building things in a place that doesn't necessarily have the water, energy, or the infrastructure to survive, but we still do it. So how do you play a role in this? It's pretty straightforward. I ask you to start something. I ask you to go forward on that project. I ask you to reach out to other people and try to build a community. And if you don't want to build something, why not lift someone up? Why not lend a hand, support them, or maybe share their story? But not everyone gets it like we do. We're spending our time here. You listen to me, jabber for the first time in a public space with some old colleagues. But my job is to talk to people who actually don't get it. So we were created in 2023 under AB 77 to elevate entrepreneurship in Nevada. It was coming off of the great pandemic. Folks were getting laid off, they're putting on call, and for every 1% drop of workers' unemployment, you actually saw the inverse. Those folks, you gotta eat, you gotta pay rent, you're gonna start a job. So when Governor Lombardo signed this bill, sponsored by Speaker Yeager, we really went in full force. So what does GOED do? And I actually had a lot of great meetings last week, and I feel a lot of our work's just kind of in coffee chats or behind closed doors trying to figure out what to do, or strategy sessions with notebooks and papers. But what we provide at GOED is a lot of things. And in the innovation space, we have the State Small Business Credit Initiative. It's a one-to-one matching program. So it's $112 million over the course of 10 years. We've deployed our first tranche of 35. We've got our second one in the bank for January. If anyone here is a startup founder looking to raise a round, raise your hand. Okay. Oh, really? Okay, cool. I go to these events and I'm just kind of like, okay, we've got some like restaurateurs, some hotel folks, maybe the podcasters like Haas, but. So this cool program, going off script here, so sorry, I think we're being recorded. It's a one-to-one match. If you're raising a round, let's say you're a SaaS company like, Lorraine.ai with AI somewhere in there. And someone from Silicon Valley says, I'd like your company. I'm gonna put $500,000 into your round, I'll lead it. You just gotta, figure out the rest, we'll put something on your board. If Lorraine's here in Nevada, Las Vegas, Henderson, Reno, we can match up to $500,000, and we've done it with companies like TensorWave, Cartwheel, a lot of other folks, Angel NV, Desert Forge. We have co-investment opportunities with there. So for the folks who raise their hand, can you raise it again? Dang, okay. It's gonna be a busy follow-up time for me. So what else do we do? We help support a lot of events. The funding cycle is a lot different than what I'm hoping it to be. So we have this innovation-based economic development fund called the Knowledge Fund, and that supports UNR, UNLV, and all these great programs like Zero Labs or Electrify Nevada Accelerator, that fund goes to there. But we're trying to do more event outreach, and that's why they gave me more approval to do this tonight. But we hosted Reno Startup Week in the north, and we collaborated with Startup Week Las Vegas with Startup NV, and we were able to host the Startup Champions Network earlier this year, their board, and Dave Berlin was there, and our friends from GW in the back were there as well, collaborating. So great to see you guys. And we were able to go to Indianapolis and represent Nevada with the Global Entrepreneurship Congress, which is really great. It was several thousand entrepreneurship ecosystem builders from across the globe coming together and sharing war stories, or how to really get things going and speed running the next Silicon Valley with their programs. And we also work on data too. So I float around the governor's office, and they're like, "Oh, how's data going? How's data?" So our office kind of is known as the data office. And how does that actually play out in the world? Well, we have this cool dashboard. It's a lot of data on trends, and I won't go into details, bore you guys, but it's a lot of up and to the right, and it's a lot of leading indicators. So can I see this here? You'll see business churn is up. That shows that we have a very dynamic ecosystem where 18 months, if you're not getting traction, wind it down, start it up. We're seeing investment activity kind of starting to taper off. But if you look at Carta, we're actually top 3 when it comes to energy for 2025. For GDP growth, we're actually growing pretty well. And for job creation, we're up and to the right. So if you'll see here, we're actually outperforming a lot of US-based indicators. Where's Ben? So we have a resource platform that we've been working on with several folks with Nevada Business and Industry and EDON and this group called EcoMap out of Baltimore. And we've spent the last year trying to put this all together, and it's a one-stop shop that collects several hundred resources from across Nevada through web scraping, AI, machine learning, and I'll get the QR code for everyone. But if I did have one ask, it would be, if you guys are lost, try to find this website, Nevada-Business Hub, and I'll have the QR code. But it's a one-stop shop. It's kind of like taking Ben Laveski's work and putting a back into it where you can create accounts, you can build lists and have guides to how your build is going. And then the last one, and I'll probably hop off here, we have this initiative that we're starting this year called Nevada the Entrepreneurial. We're collaborating with the Right to Start, a national group, to celebrate America's 250th birthday. It's positioning us as the world's best startup, and we're playing off of America the Beautiful. And it's a way to share Nevada stories. So we're spinning up a place at Blackfire, and we're having short form videos. So we'd love to have your stories. We'd love to see you in, and if you're interested in sharing your stories of resilience or your comeback story, let me know. So I'll close it with this. Going back to the David piece. The Dave piece. So this David, which was in the 1500s, it's kind of an innovation of its time. A lot of times before that, the David and Goliath, they're portrayed as, having him, holding the head of, the guy or putting his foot on there. Very gross, very, barbaric. But this one, it's actually different, and the people of Venice really loved it. Because it's him before. It's him before he goes in to that battle, that moment that puts him in history. And they loved it so much they moved it to the center of town, the citizens of Lawrence. And you see here, he's stern, he's stoic. He's looking off in the distance. He's thinking, oh man, am I going to do this? And you'll see here, and art historians have shown that this is him clasping the ball in his hand, ready to go. Not in this triumphant after pose, but just ready to take on the next, moment of his life. And I guess going back to the whole prosperity thing, I think prosperity for me personally is not in, building out great things. It's not in, raising a $100 million round. I think prosperity is found in growing and scaling that moment, that look of determination, a little bit of fear, but readiness to go on over the horizon, to go on over the mountains and see past the hills and try to make something of the world. Someone asked for you, reach out to your local Davids. If it's not you, support them. For entrepreneurs or small business owners. And if you are interested in any of the programs I talked about today, I'll be here all night. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere yet. Stay right where you were. Okay, who in the room has actually had any dealings with GOED? Has spoken with Shaq about any of the programs? Anybody? Oh, we know you guys in the corner. We know anybody else? So, okay. What a great resource that we have here, right? And look at all that money that's available. It's 38.5 million in the next second tranche. Now, obviously, you have to have a real business. You have to have, some traction and something that, that's viable. But we've got resources here that companies in this room can tap into. All right, so connect with Shaq. Speak to Shaq. Shaq's always got an open door policy. He's always wanted to talk to people.
It's very true.
Right.
Better off stage.
You did great. But no, listen, the reality is that, GOED is there for the people. GOED is there for the community. GOED is there for people in Henderson and the Las Vegas Valley, right? So please, take advantage of the resources that you meet in these rooms, okay? Because the only way that they're going to be able to help you is if they know who you are. So introduce yourself to them. We're going to be doing something at the end. We'll hopefully allow you to introduce yourself to some new people. But does anyone have any questions for Shaq before he departs the stage? Okay, Fallon.
What is the biggest thing that GOED is doing this year that we can all anticipate and we should look out for?
Biggest thing that GOED is doing this year that we should anticipate and look out for?
We're doing a lot of really cool things, really big things. Last year we were wrapping up for the Campus for Hope. We have another, division. So GOED is a broader economic development agency, authority over the state. So, essentially we're supporting that. But, in terms of our projects, we're very excited about deploying capital, the one-to-one match. So we have MOUs, a lot of the, you think of a major desert fund here in Nevada, like Desert Forge, 1864, let's say SARP NV, Angel NV, Fund NV. We have MOUs with them. So as they look to invest in companies here in the Silver State, and they really like Nevada, we'll be on their side as well. Almost like a LP. But I'm really excited about hearing stories. I think I've seen a lot of the guys in the back, so I'll probably be hitting you up if I haven't already for Nevada the Entrepreneurial. It's this national call to celebrate entrepreneurship. We're partnered with EDON in Reno, Washoe, Speaker Ye were just on a call earlier today, and if you have a cool story, we're just gonna have you facing this camera and telling your 30-second story if you can, and just have you blast it all over Instagram. So happy to help promote your company and help you close more customers or investors as well.
Take him up on that offer.
Yeah, no free
All
marketing.
right, seriously. Gary.
Are you going to have presence at the Vegas Chamber premiere on January the 30th?
Yeah, we'll be there. I try not to table as much. I think, I'm a very dynamic. I like to move around. My ADHD superpowers always get to me. But I'll be there as well. If you've seen me around, I just kind of like to hang out in the back of the room, close to where you're at right now, and just kind of catch folks and see folks. So, happy to connect and grab your card as well.
Do you have any programs that are geared for young entrepreneurs, like preteen?
Officially, no, but there's a lot that we're looking at. Very stoked about First Robotics, supporting there. There's a few youth entrepreneurship symposiums that are on our radar, but in terms of, GOED sponsored, like Zero Labs or Generator, we don't have any yet, but it's an ecosystem, and our big ask is to try to get more funding into these nonprofits and build capacity there for the next year. So, if you have an interest in GOED supporting that, your local electeds could definitely put some weight on that. Someone?
Any other question? Oh.
Yeah. Questions. Are you mostly in Las Vegas or Carson City? 'Cause
Yeah, so our office, we're statewide, so there's only 2 of us in the whole state, so we're just kind of, trying to be everywhere all at once. But yeah, I'm based here in the South, Blackfire half the week, the State Building the other half. So if you guys are ever around, Durango and 215 and around Blackfire, I'll give everyone, my card or contact information, and just, happy to have office hours. I like to float around, meet people where they're at, different office spaces, or, any veterans in the room, actually? Okay, got 2. All right, well,
Thank you for your
cheers,
service.
cheers, gentlemen. We host office hours, so if you have in your network a veteran small business owner, and they just like be able to chop it up with other veterans on a Tuesday, we have office hours that I like to attend maybe 2 or 3 times a month on Tuesdays at the Leatherneck Club. We try to be out and about.
This year we're opening it up to everyone.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyone's welcome.
And
4 p.m.
it's a great program, Ghost. It's a Marine Corps based themed bar. But we have all of our Southern Nevada Veterans Chamber. I think they've showed up a few times. Warrior Rising, Bunker Labs. This ecosystem, they like to meet over there at the Leatherneck Club. So if you guys have any other places that you're looking to get more activity into, let me know.
That's great. Oh, anyone else have a question? No? Okay, well, Shaq's going to be hovering around for a little while, I hope. Thank you so much, Shaq, for sharing information about GOED with us tonight. That was great.
Sweet, thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay.